Our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on global television. We are live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Queen Agaba. President Bola Tinubu has taken a firm stand against the unjust stereotyping Nigerians as inherently corrupt. He expressed the view at a forum with the theme Public Engagement on Youth, Religion and the Fight Against Corruption, organized by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, in Abuja. The event also marked the launch of an interfaith manual and fraud risk assessment project for MDAs. Tinubu, who was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, commended the EFCC for serving as a moral compass and persistently awakening the nation's conscience. He flayed the unfairness of labeling all Nigerians corrupt based on the actions of a few, stressing that the country was home to diligent and honest people. In clear terms, the president rejected the blanket mislabeling that taints the reputation of majority of Nigerian citizens. Now, as part of its plan towards restoring the production of the oil mining license OML 245, also known as Malibu Oil, while President Bola Tinubu has ordered the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lukbobiri, and other agencies of government to clear all court cases around $1.3 billion deepwater OML 245 oil block located in southern Niger Delta. Recall that the federal government had earlier expressed its readiness to restore production of the OML 245 in order to boost Nigeria's crude oil output. The Minister of Power, Bayo Adelabu, has listed unpaid debt and low gas supply as some of the reasons for the inability of power plants to operate to capacity. Adelabu stated this when he visited the Olorun-Shogo power plant in Papalanto, Ogun State, and the Omotosho power plant in Ondo State. The two government power plants, being managed by the Niger Delta Power Holding Company, was inspected by the minister, who said the tour was part of his nationwide visit to power installations of the federal government to inspect and monitor the physical state and operational state of these power plants. Now, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lukbobiri, has confirmed that negotiations are on to finally end the dispute surrounding OML 245 for the block to resume production in the national interest. Lukbobiri disclosed this in Abuja as he revealed that parties in the deal are currently negotiating to end the over 28 years crisis and litigation surrounding the prolific oil block in the next 1 month. Kike Lomo Okere has details.
In the light of recent discussion and misconceptions surrounding the resolution of issues surrounding OML 245, the Minister of State for Petroleum has offered clarity and dispel any misinformation that might have risen. He says the OML 245 is a significant oil block within the nation's territory, which has been subject to various litigation and discussions across different jurisdictions. He says the core issue resolved around the agreement between the federal government, Shell and ENI, wherein the federal government facilitated the transfer of rights from Malabo to Shell ENI in exchange for consideration. This process was conducted transparently in accordance with established legal frameworks. The minister reveals that throughout the legal proceedings, there has been no evidence indicating any criminal liability on the part of the federal government or any involved parties. All legal battles across multiple courts have concluded with outcome affirming the absence of criminal wrongdoing.
And so when they say mounted pressure, I didn't mount pressure on anybody, but it is important that we resolve the problem. What is the problem among the parties about OML 245? We took ENI and other people, including Malabo and others, to courts in different countries. Like I said earlier, in Canada, in Milan, in the UK, in Switzerland. We lost all because there's no evidence to prove any case of corruption. And this block has been like that for the past 28 years. All of us, I'm sure, graduated before we're 28. So how can you have one block that could actually change the life of Nigerians? A very prolific block. That has been tied down for 28 years. What are the issues? Even if we continue with all the cases, the ones we had, he had no evidence. And so he lost all. And all these things happened within the last administration. And even if you guys get hold of, the book written by Malami, he himself said we were wrong. The idea of taking these things to different courts was wrong, but there's no evidence. Even the one here, no evidence. So what we're trying to do is to see how we can discuss, resolve all the issues, so that all matters could be resolved, so that we can get the investment in Nigeria.
On the complexity surrounding the OML 245, the minister says President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has demonstrated astute leadership by directing efforts towards resolving the lingering issue. Meetings and discussions have been convened with stakeholders from various countries, including Netherlands, the UK, and Milan, to explore avenues for an amicable resolution. With just a 5% reserve investment ratio in the oil sector, which is the lowest globally in the last 5 years, the minister says there is an urgent need to boost the investment in the sector to avert an imminent economic crisis.
If you go to Brazil, it's 115%. If you go to Mozambique in Africa, it's 92%. If you go to Angola, it's 46%. If you come to Nigeria, 5%. If we do not do whatever we can to attract investments, the crude oil deficit we have here will be a souvenir not seen by you and I, that will translate to nothing in the next few years. And so my responsibility is to ensure that we do whatever we can, resolve whatever problems we have in the industry, so that we can attract sufficient investment to change the narrative. If we resolve the issues around OML 245, it will attract investment between $5 to $10 billion. It will change the story. So anytime somebody wants to invest, when we go for canvas, when we go to canvas for investment, people will say, oh, Nigeria is not attracting investment. This is psychology.
It further stressed that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's interest lies on the transformation of the vast natural resources into prosperity for the nation. It therefore urged citizens to remain patriotic and continue to build faith in the renewed Hope administration, as the President has supported the resolution of all issues around OML 245. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
Now, bandits who abducted 7 residents of Kuduru, a neighboring community in Boari Area Council, Abuja, have reportedly demanded a 290 million naira ransom to release the hostages. The victims, including a pregnant woman and 3 children who spent over 1 month in captivity, were abducted at Kuduru Extension by the bandits. According to a leader of the community who did not want to be named, the bandits have threatened to kill 2 out of the victims if the 290 million naira was not paid in time. He said the abductors also demanded food items, drugs, bed sheets, and cardigans. Now, the number of new cancer cases will rise to more than 35 million in 2050, 77% higher than the figure in 2022, according to the World Health Organization's Cancer Agency. The World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, cited tobacco, alcohol, obesity, and air pollution as key factors in the estimated rise. Over 35 million new cases are predicted in 2050, a 77% increase from the some 20 million cases diagnosed in 2022. The rapidly growing global cancer burden reflects both population aging and growth, as well as changes to people's exposure to risk factors, several of which are associated with socio-economic development. The Akwa Ibom Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, has arrested in connection with alleged illegal dealing in petroleum products and impersonation. Its commandant, Eluyemi Eluwade, who addressed a news conference on Wednesday in Uyo, said that the suspects were arrested along the Calabar-Itu highway on January 29th by operatives of the Anti-Vandal Squad. He said that the command also impounded a truck used by the suspects to convey the illegal products and a vehicle used as an escort. The NSCDC commandant said that the suspects disguised themselves as a joint task force of a security agency and were found with a truck conveying about 45,000 liters of diesel to an unknown destination without the requisite documents. Now moving on, Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has revealed that the EFCC is investigating the former minister, Hadi Seka, over the controversial Nigeria Air deal. Keyamo said no local airline would be designated as a national airline, stressing that it would establish a proper national career. Recall that in August, shortly after he was sworn in as minister, Keyamo, a senior advocate of Nigeria, faulted the deal by Sirika and suspended the whole arrangements to enable a proper audit of contracts. The controversy surrounding the establishment of Nigeria's national career, Nigeria Air, had forced veteran aviator Germa Wake to resign as chairman of Ethiopian Airlines. Now, many people were reportedly burnt beyond recognition after a tanker suspected to be used by oil bunkers exploded in the forest of Obiti or Haji, Egbema local government area of Imo State. The incident happened at Ndorama pipeline at the Obiti rubber estate of Ohaji, Egbema local government of the state. Confirming the incident on Thursday, the Imo State Police Public Relations Officer Henry Okoye said the command has set up an investigation team to move in and unearth the immediate cause of the incident as well as arrest the persons involved. Bishop Stephen Adegbite has assumed office as the substantive executive secretary of the Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission, NCPC, following his appointment by President Bola Tinubu. Adegbite's appointment took effect from January 4th, 2024, and it is for a term of 5 years in the first instance, according to the provisions of the NCPC Enabling Act of 2007. In a signed letter by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, President Tinubu appointed Adegbite as Secretary of the Commission for an initial term of 5 years, according to Section 2, Subsection 1, Subsection C, and 4, Subsection 1 of the Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission Act 2007, with the appointment to take effect from January 4th, 2024. Adegbite, until his appointment, was chairman of the Lagos State chapter of the Christian Association of Nigeria. You're watching News Cycle, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using @Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your screen. The news continues shortly with details and more stories. Please stay with us. Now on the foreign scene, barely a week after the International Court of Justice deliberated in South Africa's case against Israel, accusing it of contravening the Convention on Prevention on Genocide, the Embassy of the State of Palestine to Nigeria has sued for peace, insisting that for peace to return to the war-torn Gaza Strip, the Palestinians and Israelis have a shared responsibility and benefit. Ambassador Abdullahi Abu Shwashe made these remarks during the press briefing in the nation's capital, Abuja. Global Television's Anthony Mamadou tells us more.
While blaming the Israeli incubation of 1948 as the genesis of the current crisis in the Gaza Strip, Palestinian ambassador to Nigeria, Abdullah Abu Shawesh, said the Palestinian people were not in support of the violence approach of the Hamas organization.
This cost us thousands of our innocent people that have been killed in West Bank, where is Hamas not ruling and where is no one called Hamas, or there is no military resistance there. So we are in favor of not the military resistance. We are in the PLO, President Abbas, day and night mentioning that we are in favor of the civilian resistance, peaceful resistance, non-violence resistance. But
Ambassador Abdullah commended South Africa for their support and expressed confidence that if the ruling of the International Court of Justice is fully implemented, the war in the Gaza Strip will come to an end and Israel will be served justice for her violations of the International Convention on Genocide.
Many thanks to South Africa with political leaders and people for their strong stance in upholding international law and holding Israel accountable for it is a crime.
He also frowned at the decision of the international donors to suspend their donations to the detriment of the suffering Palestinians based on Israeli allegations of 12 officials of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency involvement in the October 7 attacks.
These same countries, after 4 months of the running carnage by Israel, did not suspend their military assistance or condemn Israeli genocidal act against the innocent Palestinian civilian. This is another practical example of the double standard and hypocrisy.
On the 118th day of the Israel-Hamas war, the casualty toll has risen on the part of the Palestinians to 26,751 killed and 65,636 persons injured, with 11,500 children. This rising death toll is of grave concern, thus the need of a lasting truce for the sake of humanity. Anthony Mamadou, Global Television News.
Now on the business desk, amid its fresh moves to stabilize the nation's volatile exchange rate, the Central Bank of Nigeria has ordered deposit money banks to sell their excess dollar stock latest, February 1st, 2024. The CBN, which made the disclosure in a news circular released on Wednesday, also warned lenders against hoarding excess foreign currencies for profit. According to officials, the central bank believes some commercial banks hold long-term foreign exchange positions to enable them profit from the volatile movement of exchange rates. The latest circular came barely 48 hours after the CBN released a circular warning banks and FX dealers against reporting false exchange rates, among others. The current scarcity of foreign exchange this afternoon disrupted trading at the parallel market, black market in Abuja. The popular black market spots in Zone 4 of Wuse District observed that trading activities were very low. The black market operators were pegged the exchange rate at 1,500 naira to a dollar for those seeking to buy dollars. However, they were offering 1,300 naira per dollar for members of the public who wanted to change their dollars to naira. Although transactions were going on, there were no open exchange of cash, which was normal at the black market. The Gombe State government plans to raise 30 billion naira green bond in advancing its economy. The executive governor of Gombe State, Mohammed Yahya, urged investors to invest in the state's agriculture and infrastructure development. Yahya stated this at the closing gang ceremony of Gombe State, who is exploring how the state can harness the capital markets through green bonds to stimulate sustainable development. Held yesterday on Nigerian Stock Exchange, Lagos. He added that the capital market is the ideal place for any investor, either government, public or private sector, to pull funds for development. 'The 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 The Senate, through its Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions, summoned the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Cardoso, to appear before it on Tuesday next week on the state of economy and free flow of Naira at the Forex market. The committee, chaired by Senator Adetokunbo Abiru, APC Lagos East, hurriedly met on the basis when Naira plummeted to 1,520 Naira to a US dollar and resolved to summon the CBN governor on way out. Kike Lomo Okere has details.
Speaking with journalists after the hurried meeting held behind closed doors, Senator Abiru says the state of the economy, especially the inflation index, is of great concern to the lawmakers. Senator Abiru added that they have deliberated among themselves and critical issues has been addressed, and they believe that the next line of action is to summon the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria on Tuesday at 3 o'clock to brief the Senate properly on the state of the economy. He added that they are resolved and will communicate to the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, after which they will have further communication with the member of the press.
Lining the major issue of the economy is the way the inflation index has been, and of course, it's of major concern to us. Now, we have deliberated amongst ourselves, the critical issues we have addressed, and we believe that the next line of action is to bring in someone, the Governor of Central Bank, on Tuesday at 3 o'clock to come and brief us properly on the state of the economy. That we have resolved and communicate to the Governor of the Central Bank, after which we now have a further conversation with members of the press.
Kike Lomo Okere, Global Television News.
Now over to sports. Many of the biggest stars at this year's Africa Cup of Nations have already been eliminated before the quarter-finals, but the continent's reigning player of the year, Victor Osimhen, is still standing as he aims to lead Nigeria to the title. The 25-year-old Napoli striker may have been the obvious bet to finish as the tournament's top scorer, having netted 10 times in qualifying and twice as many goals as the next most prolific marksman. Osimhen scored in Nigeria's first match in Ivory Coast, which ended in an underwhelming 1-1 draw against Equatorial Guinea. He won the penalty, which Captain William Troost Ekong scored in the 1-0 victory over Ivory Coast, and then played all 90 minutes of the final group game against Guinea-Bissau when he could well have been rested. The coach of the Super Eagles, Jose Peseiro, has confirmed that goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali will be facing a late fitness test ahead of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON quarter-final match against Palancas Negras of Angola on Friday, February 2nd. Peseiro told journalists on Thursday in Abidjan at a news conference that a decision will be made later today. And that's it on Global Television News Cycle. Many thanks for watching. I am Queen Agaba. See you again.